On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Amplifier Worship by Boris.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And today we're giving a listen to a 1998 album from a Japanese experimental music band called Boris. This album you can easily call doom metal in a lot of places.
In a lot of places, yeah.
The rest of their discography, I don't know what the fuck you call that. It's when you consider it as a whole, it's just.
Would you just call me?
When I consider you as a whole.
Okay, as a whole.
As a whole.
Yeah.
But when you consider everything in their discography, it's like, I'll just experimental.
Yeah.
You just slap that down and call it good. There's bits of dream pop in there. There's bits, post-rock.
There's that in this,
psychedelic.
Too.
Yeah, there's a little bit. There's kind of some punk in here.
Yeah. Noise rock.
Yeah, this album is kind of all over the place, and their discography in general is really all over the place.
One thing I had to say about listening to this is I'm listening to a thing now, and then my brain is going, what's it going to be next? Because they've never given us any fucking clue.
What the fuck this is supposed to be. That's kind of how they do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the album cover is a green frog statue. Like...
in a tutu.
If that doesn't tell you that this is going to be kind of weird, I don't know what does. That statue, apparently, there was some pop artist in the 50s who made a whole bunch of these statues. You can still find them occasionally at Goodwill stores. Sure. I've seen a couple posts on Reddit of people hey, it's the frog lady from Amplifier Worship.
Right.
And people figured out where they came from, and they just got one of those statues and took a picture of it, or somebody did, and whoever the artist they hired to make their album cover just took a picture of a frog statue and was like, here you go. And they were like, that is great. That shall be our album cover. It just reminds, have you gotten into season 2 of The Mandalorian yet?
I've finished The Mandalorian.
Okay, I'm just thinking of Frog Lady.
Oh, sure.
Frogman Shouts and Frog is the best subtitle of our generation.
Yeah. Frogman Shouts and Frog.
Or Frogman Yells and Frog. I see
the babysitters, right?
Yeah. Mild spoilers for season 2 of The Mandalorian, but there's this frog lady. She cannot communicate with the Mando.
Right.
She does not speak Galactic Basic.
Right.
And so they're having these communication difficulties. He's been hired to basically take her to this next planet he was going to go to anyway.
Right.
And they have all kinds of problems along the way. But I started out just like, wow, this lady's, this is going to get old.
Right.
Wow, this is annoying. And then by the beginning of the next episode, when she reunites with her husband, I was like, oh, yes. I'm so happy for Frog Lady and her frog man.
And I kept saying, to the kid, don't eat that. Stop eating those.
Stop eating the eggs. I get they're not fertilized, but still.
I'm sure they're delicious, but stop it.
And the thing that some people pointed out is again, this is also Star Wars, where humanoids seem to eat humanoids a lot.
Sure.
That seems to be a fairly common thing.
I mean, that happens on Earth.
Yeah, but it's weird. Humans in general, the vast majority of human cultures frown upon any sort of cannibalism.
Yeah.
Whereas in Star Wars, there seem to be a lot of humanoid and sentient cultures that are totally chill with eating other humanoid sentient creatures.
Because they're a different species.
Yeah, they're different species, so it's not technically cannibalism, but it's still to us ugh. Especially when you're a cute little baby eating these frog eggs. But
it was Grogu?
Grogu is his name. Also, mild spoilers. It's been out for 2 months and is the most popular thing in current media.
Sure.
So if you're not up with it, then that's your problem. How about that? Speaking of, I mean, it's Expanse Day. So I got that.
Haven't got to watch that yet.
The new one or last week's one?
This week's.
I
watched last week. I watched
today. Yeah, today's episode.
Yeah.
I have not watched it yet either, so that's what I'm doing.
I should have done that. I
get home.
I wasn't thinking what day it was.
I probably had some time somewhere in there, but I didn't do that either. But last week's was nerve-wracking for most of it. That's just been the whole season. Is just
very
been
nerve-wracking.
Just white-knuckled the entire time because everything I'm sure is building up to. I don't think we're going to get anything particularly satisfying before the season is done.
No,
I think next week might be the finale.
Oh shit!
Or it might be the showrunner was. I saw an article about the showrunner talking about the season finale. So I think that's next week. I hope it's not this week.
Damn, and plus the guy that bought the thing is retiring. So
yeah, Jeff Bezos is retiring.
Yeah, well, sort of. I mean,
he's doing the Bill Gates version of retiring, which is I'm stepping back, but you know who's in charge. Or at least that's the feeling that most people got for about a decade after Bill Gates stepped down as CEO of Microsoft. But yeah, I wonder what Bezos is going to be doing with his inhumane amount of wealth. I wanted to say inhuman amount of wealth, but more like inhumane amount of wealth. That amount of money, one person having that amount of money is bad for other humans.
Yeah.
Therefore,
other humans.
It is an inhumane amount of wealth. But well, because season 6 is happening, and I think after that the show is on hiatus. I don't know.
So season 6 will happen next year.
Yeah. So after that, the show's future is seemingly kind of up in the air. They don't know if they're going to make another 3 seasons for the last 3 books, or if they're going to just stop it there at season 6. Because I think in the books there is a pretty hard mark after the end of the 6th book of like. I think there's a pretty big time gap.
We could have ended it here. Yeah.
I think it's like there's like a 25-year time gap between 6 and 7. So I think 6 is maybe a logical place to end it.
Right, after Jim dies. I mean,
I hope that's not what happens.
What? Oh, nothing.
But I think there is because I don't think in the first 6, again, I haven't read them, so I don't really know. I just got like sort of vague knowledge of the books because I don't want to spoil things in the show.
Sure.
It's not quite like The Walking Dead where I don't really care, and I read ahead in the graphic novels and was just like, oh, so that might be what comes up.
Maybe.
As that was just sort of kind of popcorn TV where I'm much more invested in this.
Right. The story.
Yeah, and the story and everything, and I don't want things spoiled because generally they're sticking closer to plot points in the books than other shows have done. But I don't think by the end of season, because 6 is probably going to be all about fighting Marco and nothing about figuring out what the fuck's going on with the protomolecule.
Sure.
And I think that's what the last 3 books are more so about, is like figuring out what the deal is with the protomolecule, what happened to the builders, to the people who made the ring gates, what happened to them, where did they go, what killed them, what is this massive, terrifying entity?
You have this giant story right here.
That people are so, the builders were so terrified of and eventually killed them. Like, what was the deal with the weird robot thing that the ghost of Miller possessed at the end of season 4? Like, what's that all about? His protomolecule
sort of stepped
ghost.
away from that.
Yeah, that's because they were dealing with the political stuff in this season that had been building up. But like, there's that other story left dangling, and I want a conclusion to that. And I guess if we don't get it, there's always the books. I can always read through those because I am told they're very, very good, and I would not expect them not to be, considering the writers of the books are also writers on the show. Yeah, excited for that. I started playing a new game. It's called Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus.
Mechanicus.
Yes. So in Warhammer, there is a faction of the Imperium called the Adeptus Mechanicus. These are the tech priests of Mars. It's basically kind of they are their own little nation. They get a lot of freedom and leeway to do whatever they want because they are basically almost like a religious company that manufactures all the technology used by the Imperium. They have a monopoly on technology and building it and fixing it. That's what they do, and acquiring new stuff. But they have all sort of religious, mores about, how to deal with new technology or alien technology. And so in this game, you control these tech priests as they go into a Necron tomb, they are a race of sort of mechanical. They used to be organic. They all became machines. They're basically Egyptian space Terminators. They're spooky as hell.
Yeah.
They're like 8 foot tall robot skeletons. And they're real spooky, and they have really nasty technology. And you accidentally wake up this tomb world of theirs, and you're trying to get a handle on the situation before things grow completely out of control, because shit's already fucked in the galaxy and they don't want to make it worse. But it's, the game XCOM? Are you aware of that?
I've never played XCOM.
It's basically Mechanicus is kind of like that, where it's a grid-based, turn-based strategy game where you control individual units, move them up, figure out what their attacks are going to be. And then in between missions, you get to choose between missions that you want to take, and you get rewards for doing those missions to use to upgrade your units and that sort of thing. Okay. It's really fun. Also, the soundtrack is fucking awesome. I could call it techno worship music.
Techno worship music.
It's like electronic cathedral
nice
music. It's really
not
cool.
The band cathedral.
Not the band cathedral. No. Like music you would hear, like lots of organs and stuff mixed in with synthesized tones and whatnot. It's really cool.
Nice.
It's a really cool soundtrack. And the characters are really fun as well. Got my new paddle.
Yeah, I saw that. And I lifted it. It weighs like nothing.
Yeah.
That's why you had to warn me not to jam it into the ceiling, because you pick it up expecting to have some sort of heft.
Weight. Yeah. And so it's a carbon fiber shaft, and the paddles are made of composite wood. I don't know what kind of wood it is, but it's laminated, composited wood. And it's extremely light. I think I don't know how much lighter it is than the one I have now, which is by the same company, but the one I have now is plastic paddles and a fiberglass shaft. I believe it's a fiberglass shaft, and it's stop it. And it's a bit heavier than that one. I got myself the Gucciest paddle in the world.
Because why not?
Because why not? Now I'm just sitting here thinking like, I wish my kayak was nicer. But it's like, no, you just bought one. You are going to be responsible. You don't need one. And I know that. But it doesn't stop the little bug in the back of my head going like, yeah, but what if you had a nicer one?
You can sell this one.
Yeah, I can't stop myself thinking that. I was telling you, I made some punch over the weekend.
Right.
It's a classic tavern punch, or it's called a tavern punch. There's a YouTube channel called How to Drink, where a guy makes various cocktails from television and movies, or just popular cocktails.
What's with all the dick jokes today from you?
Yeah.
Man, it's crazy.
It's weird. You never make dick jokes. You of all people. But it is a tavern punch.
Yeah.
That is what I basically upscaled it so I could use an entire bottle of mead. But it's mead, Scotch ale, oleosaccharum, which is the biggest pain in the ass in the recipe, cinnamon syrup, and orange juice. So if you don't know what oleosaccharum is, it is citrus oil mixed with sugar.
Right.
And basically, in order to easily get citrus oil, it has to be mixed with sugar, because you take a whole bunch of skins of any citrus fruit. It can be oranges or lemons or grapefruits or limes. But you take the skins. You want as little pulp as possible, the white stuff around the pith. It's pith, not pulp. Pith. Yeah, you want as little pith as possible. You basically want the zest.
Right.
You just want the zest.
You don't want a pith in your punch.
Yeah. And so you throw all of the zests into a bowl. You throw a bunch of granulated sugar into the bowl, and you let it sit for like 12 hours. And the sugar sucks all the oils out of the zest.
Nice.
And mixes it up into this little syrupy concoction. And then you can throw all of it into a pot with a little bit of water. to get the rest of it out if you want to.
You know, you could just buy the citrus oil.
Where?
Oh, over by the Mop and Glow. Or the
I don't think you want to put that in
your punch,
your drink. I feel like there's other chemicals in there that might not be so great to drink.
Maybe might get you real buzzed.
I mean, when you say intoxicated, usually it has a slightly positive sort of attitude. Sure. This is the more negative side of intoxication, in that it's toxic.
Right.
But yeah, the whole making of the oleosaccharum was kind of a pain in the ass for me.
Sure.
Because I had to then buy some oranges, and I don't buy fruit usually. And then I was like, what do I do with the rest of these oranges? So I juiced them. And
you needed orange juice for
I needed orange juice. I just drank the orange juice after I juiced it because I wanted to. I had bought separate orange juice for some reason. Instead of, I think I just didn't, I was worried I wouldn't have enough orange juice from the oranges I juiced.
Gotcha.
Because as someone who never makes fresh squeezed orange juice, you kind of get a pretty pitiful amount of orange juice from a single whole ass orange.
You do. It feels like a waste.
It feels incredibly wasteful. I felt it was like, I just ruined this orange I could have eaten and got like barely any juice out of it.
You could have got all the juice out of it just by eating it.
But then I juiced the other two and I was like, okay, that's actually a glass full.
Sure.
That's actually, that's a decent amount of orange.
3 oranges was a glass full.
And then I also didn't have a very good juicer. I didn't have like one of the squeeze ones with the tops. It was just the bottom part with the little spike in it that you squeeze it over. Then that's the noise you make when you juice oranges. It makes some suggestive noises too.
It does.
It's nasty.
Juicing an orange. It smells like orange juice. It sounds like good pussy.
Oh God. You're another year older, by
I am, as of yesterday. I'm 47 now. Well, I didn't think I was going to make it here, but here I am.
Another year closer to the end of the world.
Yeah.
Or just your life.
Just the end of me. And I got this weird bump on my thumb. I don't know what's going on.
You're probably dying.
It hurts. Yeah, it's probably killing me.
Yeah.
I have thumb cancer or something. But my wife was telling me, she says, well, just set it down on the counter and we'll slam it with a phone book. I'm like, we don't have a phone book.
Well, you should have asked me. I have like 5.
Where'd you get those?
Because you kept on fucking bringing them up from the lobby, the entryway. Well, you don't have a lobby.
No, you don't. No, it's an entryway. And I looked out and I see, there's still people still haven't picked up the phone books. Maybe Kale will want another one.
No, don't you dare.
I brought it up. Here you go.
How many phone books I threw in the trash? Yeah, it might be killing you. This morning, I looked at my hand and it seemed like I had the black spot in the center of my right hand.
Really?
There was like 3 like dark sort of spots right in the middle of my palm. And I was like, that's weird. And they went away.
Really?
So I don't know if it was just I'd been setting my hand on something before that. But I looked at it and was just like, that's kind of weird looking.
There wasn't a note nearby that said, we know?
No, there was not.
All right.
Also, the Kraken has not come to kill me yet.
Okay, so. Good.
I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine.
That's good.
That's just my life is. I think I'm fine.
I think I'm fine.
I'll probably be okay eventually.
I mean, what could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong? I just keep on pushing back the date of like by this point I'll have my shit together. And just keep pushing that forward into the future.
I want you to look at this right now. See this person sitting here across the table from you? I did the same shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a grandfather here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? I mean, think about it this way. You could have been a grandfather a lot earlier.
I could have.
It's mathematically possible.
Sure.
You got to grow out that full beard and just coveralls. Just walk around in coveralls with no shirt.
With no shirt?
Yeah.
What kind of a granddad is this?
I don't know. So you have a little, a little wheat straw in there. Are you Petey Wheat Straw?
Petey Wheat Straw?
Which is what is that? Dolomite. What's the actor's name?
Rudy Ray Moore.
Yeah, it's an early Rudy Ray Moore movie, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also said his name weird.
Rudy Ray Moore.
Muir. Rudy Ray Muir.
He suddenly has umlauts
over both the O's.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would.
How would that be pronounced?
It sounds like Sylvester Stallone vomiting. I've hardly done anything in the last week.
Yeah. I have a bunch of phlegm that's like getting in the way of talking.
You seem verklempt.
I'm all verklempt. Yeah, I haven't really done anything lately either.
Yeah. All of my youngest children, the ones that live at home, they're both dead set on, because now we have Disney Plus, on getting through every episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So that's what they're working on right now.
At least do something mildly reasonable, like watching all of Cheers and Frasier.
Sure.
Which that's not on Disney Plus, but
it's not.
I mean, I didn't even get halfway through Cheers.
Right.
Not that Cheers started getting bad. I just wanted to watch something else.
You know, there's parts of Cheers that don't translate well
today
to 35 years later.
It started in 1983.
Yeah.
Like, of course, some of it's not going to hold up all that well, but a lot of the stuff is still very clever. And like,
totally.
Hey, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Everything with Coach. Every Coach bit is wonderful.
Of course, he died like 3 seasons in.
Yeah, that's true. But
we got Woody.
Yeah, and Woody was fantastic. Woody's also great.
Mm-hmm.
Even though in Woody's first episode, it was kind of clear that they had written all of his dialogue for Coach. It's just like, that sounds exactly like something Coach would say. They also put in the joke that he and Coach were pen pals. And so that's why they have so many similar interests and seem to be the same person for a little while.
You know, because we were written the same.
Yeah.
Pen pals.
Which I think that was clever enough to sort of acknowledge, like, hey, you know, we want to have a character like that in the show still, but obviously the actor passed away.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, Cheers. Cheers. What?
we trailed off for a moment there.
Just space. Just, you know, sometimes it's good to just stare off into space.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Contemplate existence, which is the sort of navel gazing that one could do while listening to a Boris album.
Yeah, specifically this one. There you go. There's you standing up on a 2-wheel bike.
Yep. So this album we're talking about, called Amplifier Worship, came out in 1998. Boris has been around since 1992. They were originally founded as a 4-piece. I don't remember exactly what year it was when the 4th member departed, but they've been a 3-piece ever since.
And they didn't replace them.
Yeah, the 4th member was Nagata. Which reminds me, of course, of Naomi Nagata from The Expanse.
Of course.
But Nagata was the original drummer, and Atsuo, who became the drummer, was originally the vocalist, and just the vocalist. Everybody kind of is pulling double duty. We've got Takeshi, who's on lead vocals, bass, and rhythm for this album. They all kind of share lead vocal duties these days. Wata, which is, by the way, it's Female February.
And that's the female in the band.
There's the prominent member of the band. She is the lead guitarist, the keyboardist, and also a vocalist in the band these days. She doesn't perform vocals on this album. Atsuo does on a couple songs.
And some songs are instrumental.
Yeah, some of them are just instrumental. Atsuo performs drums and vocals these days, as well as other percussion instruments as needed. These guys have done a ton of collaborative albums with Merzbow, who's kind of a noise, ambient, electronic sort of artist that has done lots of collaborations with people sort of on the fringe of weird experimental metal. They've been all over the place, and Boris has collaborated with them either as, you know, just a full collaborative album or on split albums and EPs and stuff dozens and dozens of times, which actually makes it kind of difficult to look through their discography to find albums that's just theirs. Like,
really?
It can be kind of difficult finding stuff that's not Boris and Merzbow, that's just Boris. This is one of their first big ones that sort of established them as like a oh, this is a weird sort of metal kind of band. Let's listen to this. They're very much in this. They've also done a couple collaborations, I think, with Sun, and they're very closely associated with them.
Even though Sun is not. Well, I mean, is Merzbow, are they like from Japan as well, or are they?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't know where Merzbow is based. I want to say the UK, but that might be completely wrong. But Sun is American, aren't they?
I believe so. If they're not American, they're Finnish.
Or they might be Canadian. Who knows? Sun is American.
Yeah.
What about Merzbow? Merzbow is Japanese.
Oh, they are Japanese.
I did not know that. Just because I've seen their name all over the place. Is just, I don't know. I assume people are American sometimes because it's media, and there's a lot of Americans making media. But anyway, yeah, they've done so many things, so many albums, floundering for stuff. What are your general thoughts on this here?
I enjoyed it. It's one of those things that I maybe might listen to again, but I have to be in a really weird mood for it.
Yeah,
it's very, very interesting. Man. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah, I need to listen to the rest of their discography more because things change quite a bit. I did listen to a little bit of one of their later albums, Pink, when I was trying to figure out what album
they collaborated with Pink?
Yeah, they collaborated with Pink. No, the album is just called Pink. And I dug that. Their discography gets kind of like Sun, gets a lot softer and brighter as you go on. Things get less fucking scary as they continue throughout their discography. But it's all weird. It's all weird. Like none of it is like, oh, this sounds like a super normal song. Like it's all kind of weird. So I think I might have to give some of their later stuff a listen, but I'm kind of with you on this. Like, this is a thing that I enjoyed listening to and I liked it, but I'm just like, I don't know where this fits into my habits of bands that I listen to on repeat until I get sick of them. Cause that's how I listen to music, instead of listening to a whole bunch of bands and not sticking with anything. It's like, I'm going to listen to this until it makes me bleed.
Yeah. Or I have albums that I'll listen to a few times that are really good, and then I'll step away from them, and they'll just be on repeat in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
It happened to me in November,
with
tragically. With South of Reality.
Oh, okay.
That
I was thinking of South of Heaven.
No,
that's a Slayer album. What's the album?
South of Reality.
South of Reality by who? Sorry. What's the artist?
The Claypool Lennon Delirium.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. That's okay. I need to get back into them.
Yeah,
they're fucking weird,
but weird and very, very good. I mean,
yeah,
and unfortunately, I mean, it sort of sacrificed itself for my sanity,
I suppose,
because I was in New Mexico for a week, and it was playing to my head constantly, like, okay, just listen to this song, don't fall into a puddle of goo,
black hole. Yeah. Just listen to Les Claypool and Sean Lennon be weird, because that's what they do best. Is they be weird. They be weird. That Claypool and Lennon boy. It's weird because Sean Lennon, first of all, looks a lot like his dad, and second of all, looks like he's somewhere in his 20s when really he's in his mid to late 40s.
He'll be 46 this year.
Yeah, where it's like. It's like he looks really, really young.
He does.
It's part of it's probably the beard, as he's usually, all the pictures I've seen of him, he's got a beard, and there's a weird threshold, I think, with men where when you're in your 20s, a beard makes you look older. After the age of about 35, beard makes you look younger. I think having a full beard just makes you look kind of 30-ish until it goes gray.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm at half and half.
But
I'm
even
more gray than
even once it goes gray, it still kind of makes you look a little bit younger. It's just that it's like, okay, this guy's clearly probably over 40 somewhere,
right? But Sean Lennon would have to be over 40 something.
Yeah,
his dad has been dead for 40 years
for that long.
Yeah,
tragically. And in any case, did you think this slaps? Because that's kind of a complicated question. Well, it's not so complicated.
No, I mean,
in the sense that sometimes it slaps.
Exactly.
There's a couple songs, specifically these songs, because there's not that many songs on this album.
No.
Specifically the songs Hama and Kurumizu.
Yeah, Kurumitsu. I think Kurumitsu might be my favorite song.
It's up there.
If not,
I put Gambuki as my favorite.
Gambuki is your favorite?
Yeah.
I like the last song, Barf on Yourself.
Vomit Self.
Vomit Self.
I have them all right here. You probably can't read them from that distance. You have glasses on your chest.
But they're readers.
Okay, so that's probably too far away.
There's a focal point. No. Okay,
right about that. All right.
Yeah.
But Vomit Self is the last song.
That's an instrumental.
Yes, it's an instrumental, and really only about half of it is actually a song.
Yeah.
Because it's almost 17 minutes long, and the entire last half of it is just, I think, the one note that's trailing off.
Yep. Well, it comes in slow too.
Yeah,
the album does.
It comes in slow. Well, I imagine it's Wata doing this. There's this at the beginning, the first song, which is huge.
Or Huge.
I think it's just supposed to be huge.
Huge.
I think it's just. Is it Vomit Self? I'm not going to do that. No. Nope. Not going to do that. But it sort of comes in with some words in Japanese.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but it's just on a loop.
Right.
As it goes, and then it's
a female
fading
voice,
up. Yeah, it's a female voice, so I presume it's probably Wata, but it's fading up, and then she says both the words, and then boom.
Yeah. Right, just this chunky sounding guitar.
Just explosion of guitar. Oh, did I mention, by the way, Takeshi, I said vocals and bass. I didn't mention rhythm guitar. Really? He plays a double-necked guitar.
Really, a bass and...
Yeah, so on some of their songs, I don't know if he loops or what he does, or if he's just like strumming on one and strumming on the other, like finger picking.
It does seem to be that kind of music where he could do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's slow enough that you can certainly do that on some songs. They're slower and longer tracks.
Yeah.
He will play rhythm guitar in addition to bass at the same time. Because double neck, baby. I think for such a long time when I was a kid, I saw a double necked guitar and kind of, not really a kid, I guess, but, teenager and what. You see a double neck guitar and you're like, why do you have that? You're not using that, clearly. That's just to look cool.
It's for show. Yeah,
you do it every once in a while, but then once you get older and you discover some really weird bands, you find musicians that like are actually doing shit with it all the time and validate having a double-necked guitar.
Right.
Like they have their use, and it's usually for really weird shit.
Right, you have your 6-string here, and you have your 12-string here.
A triple-necked guitar.
Like
quadruple-necked guitar.
What the hell's the Cheap Trick?
Don't know.
We're forgetting his name.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I can't brain.
Did I meet the vocalist for Cheap Trick at the State Fair?
Robin Zander?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't him.
No.
Oh, I meant the vocalist for Starship.
Right, Mickey.
Mickey was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Mickey was cool as hell. He smelled really good too. I think I mentioned that.
You smell really good.
I didn't mention that to him.
You mentioned it on the radio.
Not even on the radio, I think. I mentioned it that week when we did the podcast, or the week after, where it's just Mickey Thomas smells really nice. Because you look at him and he's like, this leathery, crusty old rocker. Well, maybe not crusty. That's kind of negative connotation. But he's an old rocker dude. And then, so you kind of expect him to smell a certain way, or just to smell like an old dude, or just to...
mentholated like and farts,
beer, or cigarettes or something like that. But he smelled amazing. He smelled great. It was just like wow, this old dude smells really nice. It was weird, and he was really great to talk to. He was a cool dude.
Been doing it a long time, so
yeah, he's been around
50 years at least.
What the hell were we talking about before? Oh, we were talking about the double neck guitar.
Yeah.
His guitar, Takeshi's guitars, apparently he's designed himself. These are, I don't know if he made them himself as well, but it's at a guitar on the Wikipedia page, a guitar of his own design. So maybe he just designed it, had someone else build it, but it was like, these are all the things that I need on my specific guitar, because this is a band full of, I mean, it's like any sort of experimental and doom metal bands, especially. These are people who are obsessed with gear and pedals and amplifiers. And I mean, the album's called Amplifier Worship. Like, come on. But like, it seems to be a thing in doom metal where the bands are really obsessed with just like as much cool, weird vintage gear as possible. Yeah. Like you go to any Mastodon concert and it's just like, wow, that's a lot of orange amplifiers. Those are a lot of oranges up there.
A lot of orange cabinets up there.
Just an obscene amount of orange amplifiers. Some of them vintage, some of them probably new.
Your new orange amplifier. Your new amplifier.
Brent, it's your amplifier. God, I hope we get something new from Mastodon soon.
Yeah.
Other than, I mean, the
last thing was pretty cool.
Yeah, the rarities or whatever they did was neat. But something new from them soon would be cool. Well, there's another new ETID track that I haven't gotten.
A third?
Yeah, there's a third that came out that I haven't gotten.
Those first two are bangers.
Those first two fucking melt your face off.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I love those first two. But so yeah, new album imminent on the horizon, and I'm fucking pumped for it. Because like the first two tracks, like I said, they melt your face off, but I think it's like the hardest they've gone
really
in a long time. Not that anything on Low Teens or anything before that was like soft or anything, but there's just something so much angrier about this. Where like a lot of stuff from ETID kind of is a little is more sarcastic than anything. And a lot of this was just like, holy shit, Keith is pissed off about something.
They did it was 2 minutes to late night.
Yeah.
They did an interview with, it was Keith and another singer from another band that I haven't really listened to. But they're doing a split album where they're each playing each other's songs.
Oh, that's
ETID
neat.
is playing, they're playing theirs.
That's cool.
But I was trying to read Keith Buckley, and he's hard to read.
He's kind of a weird dude.
Yeah.
Like he used to be an English teacher.
Sure.
But it's like, yeah, you kind of never really know how he feels about anything because he kind of has, in the stuff I've seen with him, just sort of the same aloof attitude.
Right.
Of just like, maybe this is something he's really passionate about, or maybe he doesn't give a shit. I have no idea.
It's hard to say.
Maybe he doesn't give a shit about anything. I don't know. He was talking about after his kid was born. He was trying to give up. He gave up smoking. And then he was like, I tried to give up drinking and I could not do it because I don't like myself being sober. I think I'm an awful sober person.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm just going to be more responsible. Maybe he gave up drinking again. I don't know. But I think there was a period where he's just like, I'm not going to drink anymore. And then he's like, fuck this. I don't know. I might be completely wrong. He might be, sober for a while now. But in any case, yeah, ETID's fucking cool. I'm very excited about more stuff from them soon. What haven't we talked about? Score. I found an 80 on AllMusic. That was the only thing I bothered looking up because I forgot to do any prep for this until about 20 minutes before you got here.
Sure.
Which is how it usually happens. But that's what I found there. Something that I wrote down is they're named after a Melvins song.
Oh, cool.
There's some Melvins song that's called Boris. So
never been a Melvins guy, but
I'm aware of Melvins, and I know they are kind of an influence on the doom metal community.
They're sort of proto doom.
Yeah, even though they aren't strictly doom metal in most of their places. What is it I saw where if you slow some old Alvin and the Chipmunks songs way down, it sounds kind of like the Melvins.
Kinda, yeah.
And it kind of sounds like, if you slow it down
to where it sounds like real men singing.
Yeah, and it kind of sounds like sludge metal a little bit too. Like it's sludge metal, but without the distortion on the guitars. But when they're slowed down that much, it sounds weird enough that it could be some weirdo sludge metal band.
What I love was when they slow down the Chipmunks, but they leave the Dave part in. Yeah.
Albert! Oh, they don't. They don't.
Okay, Dave.
Oh, God. I know, I imagine in the studio what they do for people singing is they slow, because they speed the singers voices up. I imagine they probably they have a song that they slow down to the tempo they need, have the singers sing along to that, with the mix pitch. It down, and then speed it back up.
Yeah.
But that just seems like, I'm sure it's not that hard to figure out, but on a certain level, as a person who has very minuscule idea of how audio production of music works. Sure. Uh-huh. I don't know how I would figure that out.
Here's the funny thing is somebody showed you, it would be like 10 hours of you going, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
certainly.
Right.
Obviously.
Duh. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I know.
Of course I would do that. I know. Duh.
But you wouldn't say that out loud. But you'd be thinking in your head, this is way easier than I thought it was going to be.
Probably.
I mean, it's not, hard like, 1980s hard and 1970s hard.
Yeah, on digital tools, it's a lot easier. But there's also a lot. Part of the benefit of digital tools as well is there's so much more you can do.
Right.
Like there's so many fiddly little things you can adjust.
Which can be paralyzing.
It can be bad.
Yeah.
I think if you're a really good engineer, it's the sort of thing where like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's going to sound, if I explain to you what I'm about to do, it would be really complicated and seem like it's going to take 10 hours. It'll take me 30 seconds and then I want you to listen to it.
I mean, I watched a tutorial, Devin Townsend doing his layers and shit. Yeah, watching that and thinking, I never want to turn on a computer again.
Yeah.
Just having watched that.
The amount of layers and effects that he puts on literally everything and recreates them in a live capacity as well.
Right.
That he's got that amount of, pedals or digital profilers on stage or
he's a genius.
However the fuck that works. He made like his live performances sound as good as everything recorded, which is insane for something that relies so heavily on effects. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. His live streams are great.
Oh, yeah.
The amount that he puts into just doing a live stream performance on the internet.
A GoPro on an oscillating fan or something like that.
Yeah. I watched some of his Christmas. He had an acoustic Christmas one that he did where he had a Santa thing that wasn't quite cooperating. He's also, as his controller, because he doesn't have a switcher board or anything, but he does have a PlayStation 4 controller, which I don't know how he rigged that up to work. But it works, and he just toggles the joysticks and it switches cameras for him, and it's cool. It's Devin Townsend. Like, come on. It's fucking awesome. So your favorite song again?
I think it is Kurumitsu.
Okay. Yeah, I like
that.
Hama and Kurumitsu have parts that are like kind of punk.
Yeah,
I think Hama for the most part it's got a lot of kind of hardcore punk vibe to it.
The first 4 minutes of Kurumitsu is like hardcore punk. It's like
really shouty, punchy, hardcore punk.
And then for like 10 minutes after that, it's like ambient. Yeah. Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
No.
On this album.
No, you don't.
I like Gambuki. Because it's one of the very long kind of slower ones, but then at about the middle point, it launches into this long section where the bass just does this thing that gets me grooving. It goes boom, 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 boom. And it's like just sliding around all over the place, and it's just like hypnotizing. And like if you're doing something to that, if you're like doing something to the beat of that, it's like you feel it's like completing a task to the James Bond soundtrack or the Mission Impossible soundtrack.
Right.
You feel more effective. Bam, 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 bam. Or what's the Mission Impossible? Dun 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 dun. If you're doing something to the Mission Impossible, if you're doing it to that music, whatever. If you're doing it to that music, doing it. But if you're,
that's James Bond. That's
is it?
Yeah,
yeah, it is. What the fuck is the Mission Impossible theme song?
It's
I don't know.
I know what it is.
If you're doing something,
it's somewhere in my brain.
Then you feel awesome, and you might also get it done more efficiently because you feel cool while you're doing it.
Sure.
It makes you feel like you're a super spy. But yeah, the Gambuki's just got. I called it slidey bass in my head because I was just listening to it,
slidey bass,
not necessarily noting what the title of the track was. Just like, oh, it's slidey bass time. And it's just, I also have a hard time figuring out where Huge ends and Gambuki begins.
Sure.
It's like a couple of these songs just kind of like bleed into each other. And I think that's intentional. But yeah, part of the reason why I think this is the sort of thing that I'm not going to listen to a whole lot again is that this is the sort of thing that I want to listen to as a whole. Like I had kind of a hard time picking out a favorite because it's kind of
one piece.
It's kind of one piece. You kind of have to listen to the whole thing. And there are certain things where it's like, if it doesn't have a novelty to it, like Mirror Reaper does with me, I'm not willing to sit my ass down to listen to for dun 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 dun.
Thank you.
That's it. There we go. There we go.
All right.
You got it. No. I'm happy. I'm happy now. But yeah, it's, kind of sitting your ass down for 15 minutes to listen to this thing. If it doesn't have a big novelty to it, can sometimes feel like a chore. But then you're in the right mood. You're just like, let's listen to all this. So I don't know. I'll need to have some more time with this, I think, to concretely say how I feel about it. For now, I'm bestowing upon this, like Maskanata to Chewbacca, the Medal of Silver.
As am I.
Because this is good, but I don't know how much I'm going back to this to listen to it. So it's February. Female February for us. So next week, what is it you're thinking of?
Well, I thought of a number of things. A number of things. Talking about some 80s ladies. But before we do that, I think it's important that we talk about Vur.
Vur. Yeah. How is that spelled?
V-U-U-R.
V-U-U-R. Yep. Vur.
Vur.
Not vor.
No.
Which is a fetish thing. Don't look that up. I've spent too much time on the internet.
Yeah, terrible. They're Danish.
Danish, okay.
The album is In This Moment We Are All Free Cities.
Okay.
2017.
In this moment, we are all Wrocław in Poland. In this moment, we are all Tallinn in Estonia. In this moment, we are all... I can't think of any other free cities, actually, in the book. Or wait, no. A free city was I might be getting it confused because I think free cities were a Holy Roman Empire thing. Yeah. Whereas like you're not a part of the Holy Roman Empire, but you are. Yeah. You get to govern yourself, but
as long as you do it the way we say to do it.
Yeah. You get to govern yourself, but so you can do whatever kind of business you want, but officially you're supported by us or something like that. I was getting it confused with the Hanseatic League, I think, which was a ring of cities around the Baltics that all traded with each other. I only know, by the way, what the Hanseatic League is because I probably would have come across it somewhere else, but in Metro 2033, the book and the video game.
Sure.
There is in the Moscow subway where the games and the books take place after a nuclear apocalypse.
Right.
There is the Ring Line, which is just a big circle underneath Moscow of their metro line. And a bunch of the stations on there are part of what they have called Hansa, which is they're all, because all the stations are like their own little towns. And so Hansa are a bunch of these like aggressively capitalistic towns of...
It's the League of Hanseatic Gentlemen.
Yeah, the League of Hanseatic Gentlemen. Yeah. Yep. But all these guys trade with each other, and they have... In the book, it's kind of funny. They have an enshrined copy of The Wealth of Nations. Or what is it? Is it The Wealth of Nations? Adam...
Levine, yeah.
Adam Levine. What's that fucker's name? The inventor of capitalism. Adam Johnston or some shit. No, Adam Johnston is the Your Movie Sucks guy. I don't know.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But
I'll start singing in a moment.
It's gonna bother me. Yeah. In any case, that's why I know that. Sometimes I have the problem, which I think was most eloquently described by David Mitchell on an episode of Would I Lie to You, I think, where it was, if I knew why I know, or if I knew how I knew half the things I know, I'd only be able to know half as much. Is when some people are like, how do you know that? And I'm just like, I read it somewhere.
If I knew how I knew half of what I knew, I don't know half as much. It's great.
I'd only have, you have a finite amount of data storage in your brain.
Sure.
You got to free some of that up.
They say it's what is they say the human brain storage capacity is?
I don't know.
As far as digital, it's the one above terabyte. It's petabytes. It's 2 petabytes.
2 petabytes of
roughly.
data.
Yeah,
somewhere around there. That would make sense. Back to the Mechanicus.
Yeah,
that's the thing in Warhammer where they're not allowed to use AIs. And so instead of building super advanced computers, they just use human brains.
Well, that's fun.
Either like grown or cloned, or sometimes just taken out of people that didn't get to have a brain anymore.
I just watched that episode of Star Trek: The Original Series this morning,
where there's brains in jars or something.
Well, sort of. What happened was somebody came onto the Enterprise, stole Spock's brain, and then left.
Oh, they're using Spock's brain. Just kind of yanked it right out of him, or what?
Well, I mean, they have this special thing that makes them able to do surgeries well. Okay. Otherwise, they're stupid people, and they came.
So they're real stupid people, but they do good surgeries.
Yeah, well, they put this thing on their head, and all of a sudden they know how to do shit for a little bit, and so they snuck on because their central processing unit, which is a brain, the old one had been around for 10,000 years and was dying.
So they
need to replace that one with Spock's brain.
These are probably they probably just look like humans, I imagine. Mm-hmm. But they're
very pretty women humans with very short skirts because it's 1967.
The Star Trek equivalent of Ithalids from D&D, Mind Flayers.
Something like that.
They have an elder brain. That's the smartest one. In any case. So we should probably wrap up.
So Vur next week.
Yeah, Vur next week. Yeah. The week after that, I know what we're doing. We're doing Code Orange, their new album, which the name of I have forgotten at the moment.
I didn't realize Code Orange had a female.
Their lead singer, their lead guitarist and backing vocalist.
Nice.
Reba Myers. She's awesome. And also this album is fucking terrifying.
Nice. I love that.
I listened to it for the first time and I was afraid. I was just like, I like this, but also I shit my pants. I don't know that's always kind of what Code Orange has done for like their last 3 albums is like weird, scary, sort of metal-ish hardcore punk that has some electronic stuff to it. And you're like, why? I'm scared. That's kind of how they do.
Nice.
That'll be in a couple weeks. We'll do some Code Orange.
Okay. And then after that, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
You'll.
It's pretty crazy what we're doing for the last one.
Okay. I never know what that means with you. You say something's crazy. So you've got me excited. So until any of that stuff happens, thanks for listening. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter, and we post new episode links there and nothing else. And we're on Libsyn, and we're on your Apple Podcasts app. And mobile versions of that. Does anyone use the desktop version of Apple Podcasts?
I have.
I suppose somebody does, but if you want to use the mobile version that's on your phone, go ahead and do that. We're also on the podcast source, which is Libsyn's app. So thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.